Hi, and welcome to the Behind the Inspiration podcast. I am your host, Ken Waller. Today's guest on the Behind the Inspiration podcast is Ms. Lisa McCurdy. Ms. Lisa McCurdy is a wealth management counselor, and she's also the president of Rotary International of the Washington, D.C. area. Without further ado, we want to make sure that Ms. Lisa has an opportunity to use her time to talk a little bit about exactly what she does. So any additional information that you would like to find about Ms. McCurdy, of course, all her information will be listed in the podcast show notes. So again, Ms. Lisa McCurdy, welcome to the Behind the Inspiration podcast. It's a pleasure to have you this morning. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm well. This is a wonderful opportunity to share.
Great. Well, if you could, I know, but if you could share a little bit more about what you do, why you do it, and how you do it in regards to your wealth management, a little bit about your background. Again, all this information, of course, will be in the show notes, but I'd just like to get everyone to get more of a feel for exactly what you do and the importance of what you do. Could you touch on that a little bit?
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite topics, of course. I am an estate and asset protection attorney. I established a firm, a bit over 20 years ago. I'll give you a little bit more about my background. In law school, I was the one who said, no, I won't practice law traditionally. I will focus on diplomacy and international affairs. And I was able to do some of that work, and it was quite interesting and enriching. However, I felt a calling toward helping families become stronger, helping families to memorialize their legacy, and a different approach and focus. When you're the lawyer in the family, you are called to be present whenever your aging relatives need a resource or require a fiduciary or an agent. So I was called out of my diplomacy practice to serve as legal guardian for an aging uncle who was, 70 years my senior, 60 years my senior. And that really helped me to see some challenges with the system. The focus had been on planning for death only. And that's because historically we would work until 65 and we'd have about another, 7 to 10 years to live. So the estate planning was focused on when I'm no longer here. Well, now it's not even unusual that someone lives until 100 or 100 plus. And so the planning has to have a different focus. You must focus on not only planning for when you're no longer here, but planning for the various stages of your life. And so that's what we mean when we speak about legacy on purpose. We are designing estate and asset protection plans that are tailored to your individual circumstances. And there are always unique circumstances. Your plan is not your brother's plan. Your plan is not your neighbor's plan. Focus on the various stages of your life, including perhaps incapacity or a second profession or remarriage. And all of these different components require a different plan than the age-old plan focused on just death and dying. And we wanted a better conversation also. Even as an estate planning attorney, I wouldn't want to plan for just my death. That's a little depressing. But if I'm planning as a celebration of my life, planning around the various stages of your life, from retirement to new marriage to, different components of your life, an opportunity to thrive, an opportunity to transfer your values and principles, maybe through incentives for whatever you consider to be productive activities in the community. You can transfer those values through your estate planning documents through incentive to your beneficiaries, so that your plan is really designed to celebrate your principles, values, and your wisdom. So that's a little bit about what we do, why we do it, how we've kind of changed the conversation in the industry. It's a movement, and we call it Legacy on Purpose.
Yes, that's awesome too. And that's my next point that I like to really touch on. You authored a journal, if you will, called Legacy on Purpose. Could you touch a little bit in regards to what that journal does? I understand it's like a 59-day journal, and you basically, go through some exercises, I do believe they're called, to make sure that you're on the right path to your financial wealth legacy. Is that correct? Or would you like to talk about that?
Absolutely. Okay. Sure, absolutely. It's actually 59 weeks, and the journal developed out of what we found was kind of a necessary pre-planning process. So, managing the firm, working with high net worth and other types of clients over the years, we found that some of the adult children of whom we were working with aging parents, did not know how to begin a conversation with their parents about estate planning. They didn't know how to ask questions, whether the parents had already established certain plans, what their plans were, what their wishes were. They didn't know how to do that without sounding as though they were, asking what they were going to receive, or setting up some type of strategy to place their parents in a home. They just didn't know how to have that conversation. So we were hired sometimes just to begin a conversation among family members. And we realized that matriarchs and patriarchs of families, aging family members, need to feel comfortable that the next generation is ready for that, to receive that baton, to receive those assets and to manage affairs. And there was a need in the youngest in the family to have a sense of purpose and understanding of the responsibility that they would have to the family in the legacy of assets. And sometimes those assets are shared beyond the nuclear family with cousins and aunts and uncles. So there's a need to focus on multiple arms of the family tree. We established a company called Defining Legacy Group to do just that, to host those facilitated, important conversations around the values that connect us within a family. And it helps to build a stronger family. There's a platform to address any kind of lingering family dynamics or family issues. And the focus is around kind of shared values. The journal developed out of that. The journal allows families to do some of that work on their own, outside of the facilitated conversations we can host for them at family reunions, family meetings, or other family gatherings. This allows the family to share a journal or share the exercises in the journal. And where we really saw this helpful was this last unusual year, where families were not able to connect in person, but they could jump on a Zoom and choose one of the weekly questions and examine those together. And we just got wonderful feedback from that. But it's a journal of exercises, as you said, and it allows families to kind of bond around shared values, guiding principles, wisdom, and that sort of thing.
Great. Yeah, that's one thing too. I want to make sure that everyone understands is that they can pick this journal up. You can pick that journal up from what I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, from Amazon or Barnes and Noble. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. And also our website, legacyonpurpose.com.
Great. That information, again, everyone's going to be posted in the show notes on Miss Lisa McCurdy. And I have one more thing that I think stands out this morning. Well, it's a two-part that stands out this morning, is that you hold a pretty interesting position with Rotary International, the DC chapter. Could you tell us a little bit about that, if you would, and what
Sure,
it is, and
I
what
am.
Rotary is? I'm sorry.
Yes, Rotary is an international community organization. It's an organization of leaders in government, business, etc., that come together to really solve the world's problems. The organization was established over 100 years ago, actually in Chicago, but now it's very much international. And what I love about Rotary is that you will find a chapter, a club in, you know, the smallest country in the world, and very much in your local community as well. So it's very much local as well as global. Our projects are very impactful. You'll find clubs coordinating to, you know, build wells in communities that did not have access to water, which, you know, empowers an entire country to, you know, kind of increase economics around being able to farm better. You'll find, one of our signature projects has been to eradicate polio. And it's a debilitating disease, luckily rarely seen now in the world, but there was a period of time when this crippling disease would be seen in all corners of the world. We're down to just a couple of cases in a couple of countries. And that has, you know, really significantly impacted the world. We have some pretty high profile partners. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has collaborated with us on several projects, but polio in particular, eradicating polio to the tune of, you know, many millions of dollars. And I think that speaks to the integrity of the process at Rotary. Another wonderful thing is we don't, as Rotarians, march into a country and say, this is what you need, and we're going to provide you this resource that we believe you need. We collaborate with a Rotary Club in country so that, you know, culture is respected, so that we are hearing and giving voice to the local community so that the community can tell us the best way to assist it. And I love that about Rotary. With respect to the Rotary Club of Washington, D.C., I am the past president of the Rotary Club of Washington, D.C. I was the first African-American club since our president, since our club was established in 1912, and I served in the 2018-2019 year. I am currently, as of July 1, the president of our foundation. Our club established a foundation in 1922. So I'm the first African-American president of our foundation, the Rotary Foundation of Washington, D.C. We're about an $8 million foundation, and we give grants to District of Columbia nonprofits to the tune of about $180,000 a year. And we impact about 20 to 30 nonprofits in the District of Columbia every year. We're very proud of that.
And I'm very proud to know that you serve as the first African-American female for such an organization that's been around for a lengthy period of time. But Lisa, you know, and keeping up with the, I don't know, just I always say the area of what I do and what this podcast is all about, because this podcast is about motivation, encouragement, and especially inspiration. You know, you're excited. You have a very exciting career. You've done numerous things, not so much just for yourself, but volunteering and helping, philanthropy, all those things. But, and I have to ask this question: what inspired you to do what you're doing? What inspires you?
I saw an opportunity to change the conversation around legacy, from death, dying, and disability to principles, values, wisdom, and a celebration of life. And I wanted to do that to encourage planning. You have, of course, we've all seen the stories in the news where we can't believe that a celebrity with so much to lose has not gotten around to designing their estate plan. Quite a few celebrities, and kind of refocusing that to some of our clients. We wanted, and some of your neighbors and friends and relatives, you would be surprised how many individuals have not prepared their estate plan. Something, kind of relatively simple to do to express their wishes, to design a plan that they know will work for their assets, for their community, most importantly, for their family and beneficiaries, and to kind of reduce the turmoil and challenges and family drama around these circumstances. A plan must be in place. So our focus has been, and my kind of inspiration has been, to reduce the family drama and turmoil and challenges around not planning, and encourage and inspire those in our community to prepare their estate and asset protection plans, to be very intentional and tailored about them, and to focus instead of on death and dying and disability, focus on a celebration of life and planning for the various stages of their lives through their values, wisdom, and guiding principles.
Wow. And that is a lot. That's a lot of inspiration, most certainly. And I guess my next question will be, and for time's sake, I just want to ask you this question. I can't let you get away without this one. Who inspired you when you were coming up, when you were going through, when you was going to law school and all these different places and doing all these great things? There had to be someone that inspired you. So who inspired you?
I would definitely have to say my mother. Both of my parents were inspirational, family members, community members, world leaders, no question. But definitely my mother. She was and she was always looking for a way to help people. I mean, even walking down the street, if she saw somebody struggling with, their packages and their child in a baby carriage, etc., she would attempt to help or provide some resources, whatever, the case may be. And so I would definitely have to say mother, Claudine.
Awesome. That is so awesome. Well, Lisa, I could probably speak with you about this all day, and unfortunate with both of us having hard stops in regards to our time and schedule. I would like, if you could briefly, we got about 2 minutes, if you could just share with our audience some things that they can start doing, some inspirational tips that you may have in regards to financial planning and legacies and leaving legacy, financial legacies, and of course, wealth management. Is there something that you can share with us in about 2 minutes, please?
Absolutely. So a few things just in terms of resources. If you connect with me on LinkedIn, I've published a few articles there on the estate planning process so that you're aware of the process and can begin with information gathering. Your estate attorney, and I hope you're going to reach out to one soon, will want to know details about your beneficiaries, about your family makeup, about the assets you own, the businesses you run, those individuals you have identified as trusted agents and fiduciaries, people who will help to implement your plan. Start thinking about those things and think about them again, not focused exclusively on when you're no longer here, but along the various stages of your life, whom you would want to assist, the assets that you have. Begin gathering, that 401k from that summer job you had, 30 years ago. Focus on speaking with your HR department so that you know the life insurance you have, so that you know exactly what your retirement is looking like, and know that we work in a team. Your estate planning attorney will be the quarterback of the team, but your financial advisor, your CPA, your insurance provider. We all need to work as a team to ensure that your plan is the most comprehensive. So I'd say start on information gathering, and then of course, reach out to your estate planning attorney.
Awesome. Well, family, you heard it. Ms. Lisa McCurdy, it's certainly been a pleasure having you on the Behind the Inspiration podcast, where we motivate, where we encourage, and where we inspire. So thank you very much again, family, for looking and tuning in and listening in. Of course, we can be heard on any podcast platform available. We also can be seen on our YouTube channel. All that information, again, can be found at K Waller Speaks. If you Google me, you'll find me. I would like for you to like the page, share the page by just simply clicking on the button to do so. So again, my name is Ken Waller. Thank you for joining Behind the Inspiration podcast. Peace and love. Bye-bye.
Thank you.